Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are taking a look at the final challenge for the Looming Terror stage of the Epic Collection of Battles, and this is the Mastered Evolution stage. So it's a pretty straightforward stage, I guess, just to quickly run you through all the bosses again. But basically you start out with King, Cold and Frieza, who are immune to stunning and sealing, but are a very easy boss. You can then choose between two fights, one fight being 17-18 into Android 16, with 17 and 18 being able to be stunned and sealed or sealed respectively, and with Android 16 being immune to both, and being a relatively tough fight who greatly lowers your defense. Or you can choose Android 19 and 20. They will absorb key based blast supers and will basically give you a little bit of a hard time if you try to take them out. So they also seal you with their super attack, so they can be fairly irritating to fight against, but it just depends. If you stun them, you tend to have a pretty decent time, which is what we do basically. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire basis of the fights. Then you move into the Cell portion. So you have Cell first form and Cell second form. Cell first form is not a big deal. He can hit relatively hard, but he doesn't do much else beyond that. And then you have Cell second form, very similar as well. So neither are too difficult. I think players won't really struggle with either. But then you get onto the Cell Perfect form, and that's where things get a little bit dicey. Cell Perfect form is a bit annoying. He has a couple of things about him that make him quite difficult. In the first and final phases, he locks your units in place at random, which can be very irritating. He also heals the entire way through, and quite substantially, which can also be quite annoying. He then also has evasion as well. And just overall I find him to be a lot more irritating and more difficult than the fight against Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So if you want my opinion on that, I genuinely don't find him to be an interesting or a fun experience. He's genuinely just quite annoying and pretty difficult to face. In terms of team build, so obviously as you can tell we've gone with a Vegeta themed Mastered Evolution team. Our lead is going to be the AGL EZ8 Pure Saiyan Vegeta, and I do have the Strength Super Vegeta, who is a Mastered Evolution lead, but the best Mastered Evolution lead is the Int Super Saiyan Blue Duo, who obviously we're using as a friend lead. So they are the best friend lead option, and they're the best lead option, but you know, obviously if you don't have them, you can go for this AGL Vegeta, or you can go for the Strength Super Vegeta. Either is fine. So obviously that's kind of like my preferred choices in lead. Obviously AGL Vegeta after his EZA, very strong, gains attack and defense based on how many times he supers, lots of opportunity to super. Then you have the Blue Duo, also very strong units with a high chance to super in the first 3 turns, and they can do some really good damage. So they're very good. Alongside them we have 2 of the EZA Blue Vegetas. We have the AGL Blue Vegeta, the one that gains attack and defense depending on how many Mastered Evolution category characters are in the same turn. Because we have Mastered Evolution characters the whole way through, then this Vegeta does pretty well. And then alongside that we also have the Physical Blue Vegeta, obviously a unit that technically benefits a team that has full physical rotations, which we don't really here, but we do keep him because he's going to be very good against the final phases of Cell, who are all Int phase. So first form Cell's Int, or first phase of perfect form Cell's Int, the final phase is also Int. So Physical Vegeta is going to come in handy there. Then alongside that we basically have the Tech Super Saiyan Vegeta from the movie Heroes. Now, this Vegeta is actually pretty good. Obviously, he gains a little bit more buffs if he's facing a movie Heroes enemy, but overall, he has pretty good defense after supering, and the fact that he can crit really comes in handy, and he's also pretty decent in quite a few phases. Like, he helps out quite a bit in terms of like damage and things like that. So overall, I would say the team's probably in a pretty good position. I think you can have a bit of a problem, especially with the locking, because a lot of our units gain super on defense, like a substantial amount. AGL Vegeta when he transforms, AGL Blue Vegeta, Physical Blue Vegeta, all of these units gain a huge amount of defense on super, so it's actually quite imperative that you get them to super properly. You are going to notice that there are actually two units that we have on the team who are not pure Saiyans, and this is done with intention. This is the two Freezers. So we have AGL Freezer and we have Tech Freezer. Now AGL Freezer, obviously above 40% health, will reduce the damage taken by 90%, which is pretty good, and we need that because he acts as a very good pseudo tank for us. Then we have Tech Freezer, who basically, to cut a long story short, it does the same thing but slightly worse. So the one good thing about Tech Freezer is he has 80% damage reduction. It drops down to 50% damage reduction when he's below 50% health. But what this means is that if we time our items properly, we shouldn't really have like a huge issue with with him tanking. So that should be a pretty good situation for us. But yeah, so obviously that's kind of surmises the team, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna skip ahead to the final phase against Cell. Full disclaimer, this run took quite a noticeable amount of time. It took me quite a significant amount of time to actually beat. I think this took me like six or seven attempts. It was actually quite frustrating. A lot of the times the big issue being Cell would lock the wrong unit in the first slot, and yeah, that would be a huge problem. And because Final Form Perfect revived Cell here, stuns your units, it's not great when he does that to the wrong unit, and then we lose a lot of damage. So that was happening a lot, like a lot, and it was just causing a lot of headaches, which is why I find Cell to be more irritating than Gohan. Like, I know look here, how he seals Vegeta in the first, or he locks Vegeta in the first slot, which isn't ideal for Vegeta, but this is a great example of the issues he can cause. So I think overall, it's a pretty good example of why Cell can be so difficult. But at the end of the day, we do pretty well. I think the team does more than fine. Vegeta tanks just about well enough. Obviously Cell can hit pretty hard with his super attacks. I think he can hit quite hard. But we were fortunate in that we came into the turn with above 40% health. So Frieza, tanked really well. And Vegeta, even if he gets hit by Cell's super attack, he came out more than fine. Obviously he took quite a sizable amount of damage, 400k, which is a lot, but we were quite safe defensively this turn, so we didn't really have like a huge issue. And you can see here that we managed to finish him off with the blue duo. We transformed and didn't get a crit, so really ineffective that. But yeah, that's basically it. It's really quite solid. I think overall it was a lot of fun, and this out of all the missions was probably the one I enjoyed the most. The rest of them had quite samey teams, whereas this one I could kind of get out the box a little bit and try out some really interesting units and just some more recent units that maybe haven't really had a chance to shine. But yeah, that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.